Fred, the floor is yours.
Well, howdy. My name's Fred Schremp, and I want to thank you for being here, and thank you for your commitment to our fallen heroes and their families. I had the great privilege of serving in the Army of the United States, and I had the honor to command American soldiers in combat. Ours is a little different story than what you've heard from Joe and from Ed. We're a brand new organization, okay? We got our IRS approval on August the 1st, 2014. We just completed our website in March of 2015. We have a wonderful goal that I'll share with you in a little bit of what we want to do with our organization. I've got to tell you that our fellow brothers and sisters in arms have been an enormous help to us as we put our organization together. I'm delighted to have Christine Husted here with us today, who's our volunteer general manager, Steve Begley, who's our volunteer ops man on our advisory board, and truly a great young man who's been an enormous help to us, John Coogan, who's the executive director of CFPF, Children of Fallen Patriots Foundation, great organizations. So I guess the question really becomes, why did a bunch of 70-year-old guys decide to get involved with providing financial aid, educational assistance to the young men and women who sacrificed for this country, their children and their spouses? Our mission also includes civilian government employees who've died in hostile action in defense of our country. On 7 June 1967, the West Point class of 1967 graduated. 4 years later, 5% of my classmates died in the jungles of Vietnam. That was the highest casualty rate of any graduating class from the military academy. Their wives and their families got a check for $10,000 and a free funeral. But you know what? They made it. Great women, great children, great sacrifice. This statue is this is a picture of the Montana Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Missoula, Ryan, at Rose Park. And it's entitled Angel for the Fallen. So my classmate Bill Foley, who's a captain of industry in this country, and I were talking one day, very recently actually, and he said, I don't ever want that to happen, what happened to our classmates' wives and their children again. I want to start a foundation, and I have a name for it. It's called the Folded Flag Foundation. And I want that foundation to educate and provide financial assistance to the children and the spouses of these men and women who died for their country. I don't want to leave anybody behind the way our classmates' families were left behind. So we decided to investigate this issue, and here's what we found. And these are some really interesting numbers. In the last 35 years, 27,524 military personnel have perished in the line of duty. They've left behind 20,000 children and 11,000 spouses. 97% of the surviving spouses are women. 50% of those women earn less than $50,000 a year. 30% are homemakers and 13% are unemployed. The government has a lot of great programs, especially through the VA as a result, or post 9/11. As Admiral McGuire mentioned, we had the Fry Scholarship, named in honor of a great Marine who gave his life for his country, that pays for in-state tuition at a college for 36 months. And that's really 4 years if you think 9 months of school each year. There's the Dependents Educational Assistance Program that provides a stipend. But thanks to the research done by our colleagues at the Children of Fallen Patriots Foundation, they commissioned the Lucas Group out of Boston, Massachusetts to do an analytic and demographic study. And what they found is that despite these great programs and many other there are 40,000 veteran service organizations in this country, despite what they provide, there's roughly a $7,600 gap. So that number at the bottom right is a big number. To close the gap just for children requires $500 million, and that does not include the spouses. So we've identified, again in concert with CFPF, 5,800 students that will need additional funding over the next 17 years, and it's the goal of the Folded Flag Foundation to raise $100 million to fill that gap. So our mission, clearly stated, is to provide scholarships and educational grants to the spouses and children of United States military or government personnel who've lost their lives as a result of hostile or terrorist action or as a result of non-hostile events as defined by the Department of Defense. We have a great board of trustees, and let me talk to you about them very briefly. Our chairman and really the founder of our organization is Bill Foley, United States Military Academy class of '67, Air Force veteran, executive chairman of the board of Fidelity National Financial, vice chair Fidelity Information Services, chairman of the board Black Knight Financial Services, and ServiceLink, and hopefully the owner of the next National Hockey League team in Las Vegas, which just might be called the Black Knights. Brigadier General Thomas E. White, USMA, class of '67, former Secretary of the Army, Vietnam veteran. General Paul Kern, former Commander, Army Materiel Command, Vietnam veteran. General Monty Meigs, Commanding General, U.S. Army Europe, Vietnam veteran. General Tommy Schwartz, former Commanding General, U.S. Army Korean Forces Command, Vietnam veteran. Rear Admiral Mike Shelton, who showed great wisdom in graduating for West Point and less wisdom in joining the Navy. Is the highest ranking naval officer that graduated from the military academy. Sorry, gentlemen, all three of you basically. A former CB advisor to the CNO, and let me tell you a little something about Mike Shelton. Mike Shelton didn't do the Navy thing, man. He wasn't on no boat. Mike Shelton, I'm sorry, that was uncalled for, I apologize. It's just kind of bred into me. Mike Shelton was a Navy CB and had two in-country tours in Vietnam, and he's a great gentleman. Peter Bruhl, Army veteran, Executive VP of Home Nurse. Mike Oates, Navy frogman, EVP, General Counsel, Fidelity Information Services. Pete Sadowski, Chief Legal Officer. Myself, and Jim Stalling, a Marine veteran, a Naval Academy graduate, and managing partner of PS27 Ventures. This board is made up then basically of 11 veterans out of our 12 board members, 7 veterans with combat experience and hostile action against our country. What makes us different in our structure, and I think Congressman Zicke referred to it earlier, is 100% of all donations go directly to the families helped by the Folded Flag Foundation. All of our operational administrative costs are paid for by our corporate sponsors, Black Knight Financial Services and ServiceLink. From the date that we got our IRS approval, which was 8/1/2014, to date we've raised $3.6 million in cash and pledges from our corporate sponsors. It is a credit to Bill Foley and his vision. It's a credit to our Board of Trustees. It's a credit to all of the veterans organizations that work in this field. I am so impressed by what Ed and his organization do, and being an old airborne ranger, I'm awfully impressed by what Admiral McGuire and his Special Operations Foundation have done as well. So my classmate Al Nahas put together a book called Warriors Remembered, Vietnam Veterans Welcome Home. And when he retired from the service as an infantryman, a colonel, 2 tours in Vietnam, Purple Heart, he traveled the country, went to every state, took pictures of the Vietnam veterans memorials in each state. And then he put this book together where he picked 2 memorials from each state, and he dedicated it to the 30 members of our class, 3 of whom were my company mates, 1 of whom was my roommate that died in Vietnam. There is a prayer, and you'll note that on the cover of that book is the Vietnam Veterans Memorial from Montana. There is a prayer called A Prayer for Soldiers, and I'd like to leave you with this. Brave warriors, should fate find us in battle, may our cause be just. May our leaders have clear vision. May our courage not falter. May we be triumphant and earn victory as we show mercy to our enemies. May our efforts bring lasting peace. May our sacrifice be always appreciated by those we serve. May we return to our loved ones unharmed. Should we be harmed, may our wounds heal. And should we perish in the struggle, may God embrace us and find for us a place in his kingdom. I would conclude my presentation then with this line from that prayer: may our sacrifice be always appreciated by those we serve. That's our mission, to show our appreciation to the families of the men and women of our great armed services who've paid the ultimate price to defend this great nation. Thank you.